My rule of thumb with archery targets has always been the longer you shoot, the smaller your target should get. When I first started archery and bow hunting, my target was a full-size round hay bale, and I took a piece of cardboard and pinned it to the side of it with nails or screws or something, I don't even remember, and then drew a target on it, and that was how my first target was. To where today I'm shooting a 3D target or a small block target. I've shot a lot of bag targets over the years too, but I got tired of lugging those around because they can be pretty heavy and a bit annoying to have to lug around wherever it is you're going to shoot, even if that's just in your yard, unless you have a setup where you can hang the target permanently, but then it's going to be getting weathered and things like that. So I don't use those anymore. I prefer a lightweight block target that has a lot of life in it, that has a lot of resistance, so that you can get a lot of miles out of it if you're shooting your bow a lot. When you're out of hunting season, I prefer to use a block target with dots on it. If you're someone who takes a few months off from shooting after deer season's over, or maybe you don't even practice during the season, which I would encourage you to do all year, a block target with dots can be beneficial because it helps you get your form back, it helps you focus on getting your form right, it helps you aim at really small targets and gets you that much more accurate, and can help you get your bow sighted in if for some reason it's out of sight or you've gotten out of practice and out of form and you just need to get sighted back in. I think that a block target with dots can make you more precise in your shooting, whereas something like a 3D target here, you're not as likely to aim at a spot as much as you're aiming at an area. And if you're aiming at an area all the time, you're going to become less and less consistent, less and less precise and accurate at aiming at that one little spot. The old adage, aim small, miss small, comes into play here. And one thing that I've found is, for me personally, with a target like my little block target here, it's a Delta Mo-Foam little chunk. It's all black and white, as you can see, and I tend to have trouble being able to see really well the white dots as opposed to something like a bright orange dot or a yellow dot or something that's brightly colored. So what I've invested in is even just some cheap 3-inch orange dots. I prefer 3-inch over 2-inch. You can shoot smaller ones if you want to. It'll just make you that much more precise. But I have less target panic if I shoot a bigger dot. I'm able to focus in and get settled in on it and then make a good shot. So whatever you need to do to help you be more precise, whether that's getting orange dots, color dots, if you like white dots, or if you like even like the big black circle in the middle of this target, can be a good spot to aim at too. I try to shoot the smallest dot that I can that also gives me the least amount of target panic. And for me, that's about a 3-inch dot, which you can see here. I've invested in a roll of these. You can buy these for $3 or $4 on Amazon or any other site probably, and they last forever. If you have little kids, they like to steal them all the time and use them for their stickers. My kids do, but they're definitely really nice to be able to stick on the side of your target, and they're cheap enough that whenever you wear one out or it falls off, you can just get another one out and put it on. I will say, on the target that I'm sitting on, this is more my backup target nowadays, and you can see why. It's been shot about to death. It's nice to have a backup target for whenever you go to shoot broadheads, for example. If you want to shoot those, make sure they're shooting consistent with your field points and you're sighted in with your broadheads on. You don't feel too bad about tearing up a target with broadheads that's already been shot a lot. So this is my target that I like to use for shooting broadheads, and it has not much life in the middle of it anymore, or in all the spots on it. So what I'll even do then is set it in front of my little chunk target here, and then if I do go to shoot it and I shoot through it, I've got a backstop there that I'm not shooting all the way through it and hitting my fence or losing an arrow or something like that, depending on where you're shooting. When it comes to 3D targets, I prefer to shoot these during the deer season because it helps you get that practical practice instead of shooting dots, because deer and animals don't typically have a dot or a target on them. It gives you a lot of practical practice at aiming at the right spot, focusing on where that area is going to be whenever you're in a real hunting situation. You can practice at different angles. One thing that I like is, if you want to practice your shooting quartering away or shooting quartering two shots, and you've got one that's kind of worn like mine is, you can shoot and your arrow is going to go partially all the way through it. Hopefully not a full pass through, because you don't want to hit your fence or damage anything, your arrow or anything like that. But when you shoot through it a little ways, you can peek on the other side when you pull your arrow out and see what that trajectory or that arrow path looks like, so that you know, if I'm shooting a deer that's quartering away and I aim here, it's going to come out way too far toward the front. What you want to do is aim further back and aim for the exit. So, but you can get a really nice picture of that in practicing shooting 3D targets as opposed to shooting dots. For me right now, I'm really trying this next season to only have one pin to focus on from 0 to 30 yards. And right now, whenever I shoot at my block target, and I'm only using the one pin, my top pin that's sighted in for about 20 yards, when I set back to 30 yards and shoot, I'm shooting what looks like way too low, and in reality, it's only 3 or 4 inches. When I go and compare and I shoot at my 3D target and shoot at 30 yards, I'm not hitting as low as I actually think. And the reality is that 25 plus yards, the deer has a much better chance to duck whenever you shoot. And so if you're hitting just a little bit low, chances are you're going to hit the deer right exactly where you want to. So if I'm hitting down here and the deer ducks, now the deer's body is shifting to be down here. The reality is I'm going to hit probably right here, maybe even a little bit higher, but I'm not going to be hitting in the spine or anything like that. And if you miss low, miss completely. The deer lives to fight another day. You're not sick all night wondering what happened to the deer. Did you wound it, or are you going to find it or not? This 3D target is called a big shooter buck. I took the antlers off of it because it's a little more easily transported in the back of a pickup or something like that without the antlers on it. You can use this thing for a decoy if you want to. I've done that some, but I really like to have it for a target. You can find these on Amazon. You can find them on other sites. I'll put the links in the description for where you can find it on Amazon to purchase. And the other nice thing is you can see I've shot the heck out of this one and I needed a new insert or replacement. Well, you can buy a new insert like this. This one just pops right out. You can buy a new insert for it to get a brand new one to get some more life out of it and not have to replace your whole target for full price. I think these are about $100 or $150 for the full target. So you can see why it's more beneficial to just get that insert that you need to be hitting and shooting at. So you can buy one of those as a replacement for about the third of that for about $45 or $50. So I would encourage you guys, challenge yourselves with getting a smaller target to shoot, get you a 3D target as well so you can get that really practical practice out in the yard or in the field or wherever you're at, get you ready for deer season. They're a lot of fun to shoot too. If you can get several, you and your friends can get together and have a good time shooting, putting them up in different distances and practicing or just having fun and having almost a 3D tournament shootout in your yard. Thank you for watching Farming for Whitetails. We'll see you next time. So instead of shooting at dots, because the deer don't have dots on them, at least unless you're shooting a fawn, I suppose. So what I've even invested in is buying a... Daphne, stop. Daphne, stop. Daphne, stop.